Thank you, Mr. Lalota. The chair now recognizes Mr. Pocan for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Chairman Carr. We have another hearing next door. Some of us are bouncing back and forth, so apologies for not being around earlier. I would like to just echo the importance of the CBRS spectrum that my colleague from Maryland highlighted. That's currently used throughout my state of Wisconsin, and specifically in my district by the University of Wisconsin's Manufacturing Research Facility. So it's crucial that we protect it. So I just wanted to add that to the comments. I am just a little more curious about the direction of the agency, and specifically, if I understand it right, you were the person who wrote the chapter in Project 2025 that kind of directed the conversation about FCC. Is that correct?
I did. I should clarify that was done in my personal capacity, so I don't want to mix it too much. But yes, that
previously
that was the same person as me. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So, and did others help you with that, or was that predominantly your project for the section on FCC?
I believe there was a group. I think there was a footnote early on that I think mentioned some of the group that was involved in that, but I don't remember specifically the names right now.
So have you read it in Project 2025?
Read it?
The section on FCC in Project 2025?
Yes.
Okay. So from reading it, what percent of it is yours versus others?
I think ultimately as the main author, I'm responsible for the content of it. There's I think a couple places in there where it notes there wasn't unanimity in the group, but as a general matter, I'm familiar with it.
Sure. And were you compensated at all for that?
No.
No. Okay. Just curious. Yeah, I know. Really, for writing all that, you got nothing. So, what was your expectation of that project when it happened? Because I think a lot of us talked about Project 2025 last year. A lot of people didn't pay attention to it. Now suddenly, we're seeing it very much as a living document in what's happening. What was your expectation of that project? Since you did it not getting compensated for, I'm assuming you were hoping it would have high value. Did it meet your expectations?
Well, look, I think chronology on this one is important. I think I started this either in the summer or the fall of 2022.
Okay.
And so I understand that, in the summer and fall of 2024, it took on meaning and significance. Yes. That, sitting there in the fall of 2022 was not something that I could have sort of predicted or thought about. My understanding at the time was this was a document that was put together every 4 years that collected, various policy ideas that people could take or leave. And I put together some ideas there. In fact, one thing I was pleased by, some of the ideas that were included in that chapter were ones that Congress ended up passing and President Biden ended up signing. So I think it's been sort of characterized as sort of one thing, but there's a lot of good common sense ideas in there, again, including ones that President Biden got across the finish line.
Yeah. Would it be fair to say that if we were wondering what the department might be doing, looking at that plan is probably a pretty good roadmap for what we might expect from the FCC?
Well, I don't know. I mean, look, at the end of the day, the FCC is a multi-member commission.
Sure.
And the product of what the FCC does, at least at the commission level, has to have the votes and represent the views of at least 3 members of the commission. And so that's ultimately what the work product of the agency is going to be, is the consensus of those 3.
And as the lead, do you intend to try to guide it basically along the principles of what's in Project 2025?
I don't know about that.
Because if it was your words, you said largely. That's why I'm just kind of asking if that's a...
What I've laid out, particularly since being chair, is the agenda that I want to run.
Sure.
And I think that's the best evidence of what I'm going to do. And so what I want to do is restore U.S. leadership in wireless. I want to make
if I could ask
easier
you this,
to build.
Does anything divert from what you wrote in Project 2025 that you're leading on?
It may be easier just for me to walk through it. I don't know. I don't
want to be duplicative. I guess if you wrote it, was there anything that you, because it was written previously, something that's different from what you wrote for Project 2025 we should expect?
It's been years since I've read that document, so I guess to some extent that's not the guiding document for me. The guiding document for me is the agenda that I've laid out. Okay. So U.S. leadership in wireless, make it easier to unleash high-speed infrastructure builds, boosting the space economy, and I've acted consistent with that. I was down in Louisiana visiting Globalstar, a satellite company. I was in Midland, Texas, visiting AST Space Mobile. So securing U.S. leadership in space is important. National security, consumer protection, those are the key pieces of the agenda that I've articulated that I want to run at the agency.
Sure. And I'll just end with, as one of the founders of our Rural Broadband Caucus, and obviously that's still a huge concern in a very bipartisan way. We had so many people, we had to stop at 3 co-chairs from each political party because people kept wanting to be co-chairs of it. So anything that we can do on that front to help there are laws like in my state that honestly make it harder, because like where I live in a rural town of 830 people. Unless the one company that had jurisdiction wanted to expand, we couldn't go to the neighboring community. And that was at the detriment of people who live in rural areas like mine in Wisconsin. So, you know, if you can keep that in mind as you're moving that
we need to
agenda
make
forward.
more progress on this, and I'd welcome the chance to work with you on
Great.
it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. I know there'll be great objection